built and having the videos on how you built it comes in handy. I like the way the little radio looked that I put in the original Spitfire, and I liked it so much. In fact, I went back and I made kind of a replica of it. Not exactly, of course. But what I want to do now from this is I want to cover this with some sheet aluminum. And I know that sounds like, like difficult, but just think, if you painted this, it'd be real difficult to get rid of the wood grain, and the aluminum really gives it a dimension that you wouldn't otherwise have. Now in this case, the stuff that I know worked last time, I have these surgical blades which you can buy in any Rite Aid store. I want to see if I can get this off in one piece. And you really have to be careful, these are really sharp. But when you turn this package inside out, it has just the right shape of aluminum now. It's a really soft aluminum, so you can really put a burnish on it and everything. I want to get that blade out of there without destroying the package. And again, we're not really trying to make some scale thing where the guy's going to come by and say, oh, the radio was different shape in the other plane. Well, what I want is something that when you look at it real quickly, it identifies that it is a radio. Well, see, this has the blade in there. Well, you don't want to cut yourself with one of them. Anyway, you almost have to destroy one part of this to get I guess I will just sacrifice half of it to get at that real soft aluminum. Now I know the real scale modelers, they have tricks within tricks within tricks for this stuff, but for our purposes this will do. And what I need to do is burnish this down. Just looking through my box of things, see, here's some blade covers for a surgical blade that have some little recesses in it. Again, I'm looking for more for ideas than anything else. I have some of these. These have smooth aluminum. This has a little texture. So I'm going to take a couple of these apart and just see what I can come up with for an idea. It's real. And of course, we don't want to eliminate good old aluminum foil either. To trying a few different things. Actually, the aluminum foil is actually one of the nicest ones. When I put a little burnish on it with one of the... And this is something everybody would, in theory, have in their arsenal. One of the things I wanted to try was burnishing this over sandpaper to make it look rough, like a typewriter finish would look. You gotta just see what appeals to you. First thing I did was just CA that down. As soon as that kicks off, I'm going to trim this and wrap it like a little package. I guess I can wrap one side at a time. Again, I don't want to have any kicker at all in here because I don't want this to swell up. I want to keep a relatively smooth surface. Just like wrapping a Christmas present. Amazing. Now I've been trying to figure out some little riveting. Again, I'm copying off the original Spitfire. Trying to make a simulated look of a simulated radio. Now once you have the little pinhead sets, you can use a kind of an ice pick, or you can make one out of a piece of wire. Now you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to simulate some little air vents. Anyway, this is basically a copy of, well, close to what's a copy in a Spitfire. Now, after I did work on this, I really wasn't happy with the way it came out. And it doesn't fit exactly the way I had in mind. It's still a little bit, well, and because it's so easy to make these, I'm just going to make up another one. I'm not going to try to make any corrections to it. And this is I guess one of the best lessons to learn of all is if you're not happy with one of the parts, there's no point in being married to it. Just make a new one. Now I know this is roughly the size, so this will be relatively easy to just replicate it. Okay, so now we have stereo. We have the only Spitfire in World War II with stereo. But anyway, I like this one a little bit better for now. We're at the end of the session, and I'll pick up this tomorrow with some more detailing. Now, I was really glad yesterday when I got done with this first little radio, simulated radio. I just looked at it and I just wasn't happy. And I just want to repeat, because I know I've fallen for this trick many times, is I glue it in, I think, done with that. Well, like building a house, you got to be happy with each part you put, especially in a cockpit, because when you're done, once you seal it up, you can never go back in and get it out unless you have a sliding canopy. Anyway, this was worth the wait. Now, if you don't have one of these are real inexpensive. You can even buy the cheapest one. They really come in handy when it comes to detailing. And what I want to do some detailing on this radio. I tried both mediums. I tried using the Sharpie marker. I didn't like the way that looked. And I had the thin touch-up paint that I've been using on the plane. Seemed to give me the effect that I wanted on that radio top. Use the other one for a practice piece anyway. You know, when you're happy with what you have, you can use it on the real piece. All right, next thing I want to do is make up the antenna. Simulated antenna. First thing I want to do is take some, this is a 025 wire, and polish it up, because once I bend it, of course, I won't be able to polish it very much. Bend it around a drill of whatever diameter you want to start with. I unashamedly save every piece of junk that looks like it might be usable somewhere in a cockpit. I need to go through here. I need to find, you have all these different diameters. Here's something I can use. Look for anything that might be usable. Any little scraps. It's always good to have this. I guess you could call it a junk drawer, for lack of a better word. Pretty embarrassing. Anything here. Okay, now we have our little antenna bent. I want to slice off a little piece of this thin aluminum tubing. Now see, this piece here I wanted to roughen up with a parting wheel before I glue it in, because I don't want this to obviously loosen up in time. This will give the glue a little bit better of a grip. So now I can burnish this just a little bit, and it picks up the high spots in those little vents. Okay, we can kind of be somewhat happy with that anyway. Next thing is I want to get this material out of here so I can start making up the interior of the cockpit. Now the next step is I want to lay out the sides that'll line the sides here before I attach anything permanently. I want all these pieces just to drop in, a drop fit. And I can do that while the epoxy's drying, holding that radio in. Further is paint the back of this so that I the part that you're going to see painted. These